coming to you now, you also spoke about the fact that so many countries are now involved, and we have also been seeing those horrific images coming out. We are seeing how, it is the innocent which are now losing life. Do you believe the world leaders could well get together in coming days and try and mediate in the war that's taking place?
You know, that mediation has been taking place for many days now, Aishwarya. So, the uncertainty ahead, as Gaurav pointed out, is actually becoming more and more. Each day is bringing a new possibility of a miscalculation. The possibility of Iran directly getting into this war, has never been more real, even though if you look at it overall, it still seems unlikely. The United States has deployed in a very big way. They're bringing in more anti-missile systems. You're hearing, all the right things said by Western leaders. But within the Middle East, within West Asia itself, all calculations have gone completely out of the window. Every day brings a new analysis. The possibility of miscalculations between any of these countries has increased exponentially. You're seeing Yemen and Houthi rebels backed by Iran, like Gaurav said, they've gotten into it. There appears to be a measure of testing that is taking place. The word testing is used quite often when you talk about the context of Iran, because Iran is a country that functions through proxies. They very rarely get involved directly in a fight. So whether it is Hamas, whether it is Hezbollah, whether it is the Houthi rebels in Yemen, Aishwarya, all of these are proxies of Iran that are continuing to test Israel's resolve from different areas. And that is a very important, phase of conflict escalations as far as Israel is concerned. What is different this time, however, is that this is unlike any other operation that Israel has responded to in the past. When people call this Israel's 9/11, it's not an exaggeration. The country is treating it as that. There may be angry protests, by families. There may be anger against Prime Minister Netanyahu. But as far as operational issues are concerned, there appears to be, an overwhelming degree of solidarity, integrity, and agreement within Israel that this needs to end, like you asked in your question, with the complete decimation of Hamas. So whether it is their military commander who may have been killed in the Al-Ansar Mosque airstrike in the West Bank yesterday, whether it is the continuing Gaza attacks and the messages coming out from the Israeli government that many of the things we see are visible to us, a lot of things are happening behind the scenes. Remember, Israel was caught off guard on October the 7th, but it still has one of the world's most premier external intelligence agencies, the Mossad and others, and they are not going to sit down and allow this to simply be washed away. Revenge is going to be taken, vengeance is going to be taken, but more than that, the commitment from Israel, Aishwarya, is that Hamas should never, ever have the capacity to rise from these ashes.
Right, Shiv. Rajesh, now coming to you, you've been at the war front, and we are seeing the words that can describe the way in which the counter-offensive is being done by Israel is swift, precise and very focused. Prime Minister making it very clear that we will not stop till the time we have completely annihilated Hamas, and that's something which we can see the way in which buildings are being bombed by Israel, those buildings which were being used by Hamas. So definitely it's very focused and the counter-offensive is very precise.
I didn't get your question. You're asking about counter-offensive?
Right, Rajesh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you asking about the counter-offensive?
Yes, Rajesh, because the counter-offensive has been very swift and it's very, very precise. The buildings that the Israeli forces are now bombing, are now destroying, have been the strongholds from where Hamas has been operating.
Look, the counter-offensive, which has not yet completely gone in. Counter-offensive will actually start when the ground operations of Israeli forces, IDF, will start on ground in Hamas. Right now, what IDF and Israeli forces are doing are air bombardment of northern Gaza mostly, and trying to fend off Hezbollah in the north. These are two fronts which are open right now. Israeli forces have suffered a little bit of casualties, and so has Hezbollah in the north of Israel on the Israel-Lebanon border. As far as Hamas is concerned, Israeli forces, the IDF, they have amassed all around the border of Gaza. Air bombardment is going on. A lot of them, as people of Gaza say, are not so precise, and northern Gaza is being bombarded it's been totally pulverized right now, so that it is making grounds for ground offensives to go on. See, as I've been saying before, Gaza will be a tough nut to crack this time. There are a lot of tunnels network all over Gaza, and until and unless IDF is able to demolish that network of tunnels underground, it will be very difficult for IDF to go in for ground offensive, because if they do so, it will result in heavy bloodshed, heavy casualties to IDF. Second reason why the counteroffensive is not yet fully on is because of pressure from US and the Western European allies, because they are insisting that till the time the hostages are released, till the time Israel secures the release of most of the hostages, they should not go in for the counteroffensive. Aishwarya.
Right, Rajesh. Gaurav, coming to you now, the hostage issue has in fact become a big issue. We are seeing how videos are now being released by Hamas, where they are saying that some of the hostages have been handed over to the Red Cross, but there are still many, more than 150 hostages which are on the other side, and the families now in Israel are only hoping and praying that they see their loved and near ones very soon.
So Israel has officially confirmed that they have 199 plus families who've been informed. Hamas claims they have between 200 and 250 hostages. 2 American women, they were released through the International Red Cross, handed over to the Israeli authorities. Their debrief was underway, and they will be sent back to Illinois once the debrief is over. Now, Israel wants to know where these hostages are. There is a lot of intelligence input about where they've been kept, several in tunnels, not all 200 in the same location. They've been split up in groups, many likely and feared that they would be kept as a human shield closer to the senior leadership of Hamas, of course, in those tunnels. That is why the air-to-ground operations that are taking place in the Gaza Strip are to destroy some of these tunnels from where the Hamas operatives can flee. Now, negotiations are on, psychological warfare or psyops being mounted by the Hamas operatives, by Hamas terrorists, as they give out some details, hold back some details. All of that is being worked out. But as far as Israel is concerned, their resolve goes beyond the 200 hostages. The officers we've spoken to, and on record, on camera, they say that their main aim is to get the hostages back. At the same time, their aim remains to decimate Hamas, ensure Hamas never rules the Gaza Strip again. It could take a week, it could take a month, it could take a year, but they are committed. They will ensure that Hamas is decimated. So they're moving forward with that aim, and the country stands united to a very large extent on that front.
Shiv, taking this to you, you also spoke about the fact that the entire country, Israel, has now come together, but definitely there will be very strict questions that will now be asked. The people will ask, how did the attack on the 7th of October actually took place? That's the question that the government and the agencies will not be able to run away from. Shiv.
Most certainly not, and that's a good question, Aishwarya. And, the protest that I was covering last night in the heart of Tel Aviv actually reflected that anger. While there is a call for a ceasefire, while there is a call for an exchange of prisoners, some kind of a plan in place to actually resolve the situation that's been running for 16 days now and counting, let there be no mistake. Israel is a democracy. The anger against the government is reflected in public protests of this kind. But like I said, the anger against the person with whom the buck stops is definitely there. It's visible in people you speak to, etc. We've seen voices from within the military about that as well. There will be a degree of collective responsibility once there is a post-mortem. But the priority for Israel, and I don't think any Israeli disagrees with this, is that now the priority, all energy needs to be poured into ensuring that something like October the 7th never actually happens again at an operational level. Because the levels of failure that took place, are something that has given the Jewish state sleepless nights. This is a country that has been world famous for decades for having one of the most hyper alert intelligence services for obvious reasons. And therefore to be caught off guard in this manner has been more than just a wake-up call. It's been an existential crisis, as Gaurav, correctly put it. And that's why this time, going back, slackening, slowing down is not an option. So responsibility will be assigned, make no mistake.